It is Wednesday, March 9th, 2022, 6 p.m. This regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners is called to order. Would you please join Mr. Trask in the invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Our Heavenly Father, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize their responsibility to the past and the future, as well as the rights and needs of both the individual and our community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. This we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mayor Hendricks.
Here.
Vice Mayor Price. Here. Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Andrews.
Here.
Commissioner Hudson.
Here.
First on the agenda tonight is a presentation for our Commissioner Hodges, who has put in 10 years of hard work and service to this community. And there are so many things I could say, but Nancy, all in all, I want to thank you on the behalf of the commission and Madeira Beach, all of its residents, on the job that you have done, and we're dearly going to miss you. So with that, I'd like to present you with this plaque. So, and please mount it in your house. I'll be over to see it. And is there anyone that can take a picture?
Megan's trying to.
Okay, run, Megan, run.
Maybe we can move away from the flowers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Next is a presentation by Frontier Fiber Optics, bringing more fiber optics home.
Good evening. I want to thank the mayor and the commissioners for inviting us to this meeting where we can talk a little bit about our project that is in progress right now in this community. This is the Fiber to the Home project. Not many people know about our project. They think it's more of a typical fiber project that goes to the commercial customers, the high-paying customers who are usually more lucrative for our business. But this project is going to residential homes. And we're embarking on this project at no cost to the town, to the residents. We are equipping this area, the residential neighborhoods, with high-speed fiber, the very best that this industry has to offer. Next slide. These are going to be upgrades. We're actually here already. This is not Frontier's initial introduction to your community. We've been here for many, many years with our copper service. Our technicians and other employees might even live in this neighborhood or in this community. So we're here to expand our network. We're here to upgrade our network. And we're here for the long run. How does our broadband impact your communities? It does so in many ways. It's 100% fiber optic. This is not a hybrid. This is fiber right from our central office right to the home. This upgrade in communications is the best in the industry. It's going to make it so that households can easily connect multiple devices At the same time, at very, very high speeds, we're currently offering great discounts or values, I should say, for 1 gig and 500 megabytes. These services are going to help to make these properties that we go past, they're going to appreciate their values, because before there wasn't that option. And that's what we're doing. We know there might be other providers out there giving high-speed internet, but we want to give residents here another option. We know in today's world with COVID and people working from home, it's there's a lot of demand. And one special feature I want to mention about our network, each home is going to get a dedicated fiber. This is not shared on a coax medium with your neighbors, but it's a dedicated fiber that goes to each home. That way you're not sharing that fiber facility during peak hours of use. It's just you and the people within your home using that single strand of fiber. Next slide. Why does the expansion make sense? Faster speeds, technologies are out there today. We need to upgrade our neighborhoods. People are moving in from other areas of the country, coming down here to enjoy this nice weather, this nice community. They want to know they have the best available technology that they can work from, that they can have entertainment and everything. Go ahead, next slide. Okay, so we're coming into the community and we're doing everything at our cost. What do we ask of the community? We're asking to help us with our permitting. We know that these large projects are going to be a huge burden on your permitting resources. You may only have a very limited number of employees who can process those permits. We would like to help in whatever way we can to streamline that process. If there's anything that we can do that would make that process more streamlined, more cost effective, please let us know. We're interested in finding out how we can work with you. Also, hold that slide for a second. We know that in each town that we go through, there's capital improvement projects in progress, or maybe soon in progress. We'd like to know if there are, so that we do not become a hindrance to those projects. We do not delay those projects. We can work around those projects and make sure that that project is not impacted negatively in any way. Next slide. So we're here to partner with your community. We're hoping for a long-term success. We're hoping that the benefits of this will be far-reaching for many, many years to come. Next slide. I won't go through everything on this slide, but it's generally a picture showing the fiber, how it generated in our central office, that building on the left. It's a fiber cable to the FDH box. That box, which is going to be sitting right outside each community, is the only above ground equipment that we are going to be placing out in the field. Everything else would be flush mount to the ground. And then the next one, number 3 there, that's what a terminal will look like. And of course, number 4, it's what a Wi-Fi equipment inside your home will look like. Next slide. And this right here is a picture of Madera Beach. The light blue, those are the lines, those are the roads where we are placing our new fiber. So we're pretty much hitting a lot of streets in Madera Beach.
Yeah.
Next slide. Here's a picture of the FDH on the left, the above ground equipment box I was talking about. We try to put those in very in areas where they're not obtrusive, they're not a hindrance to residents and such. Next one is their flush mount vault. Next slide. And these are bore pits. You see the digging, the excavations that we might have to do. And please rest assured that we are committed to 100% restoration to original condition or better. And we'll do whatever it takes. We'll come back as many times as is necessary. We'll put everything back the way it was. Please let your residents know that, you know, we're here. We're not going to run off and not come back to restore their properties. Next slide. And here's some aerial applications. We don't typically do a lot of aerial here in the coastal because I understand a lot of the aerial plants coming down as being undergrounded. So we've really kind of minimized those placements. Next slide. And here are some equipment boxes that are generally on the side of each home. Next slide. So fiber is coming. How do we spread the word? We know that many of the residents are going to see our small army of people out there working. They will want to know who that is, what we're doing. So what we're doing here is we have door hangers, yard signs that we are going out in advance to let people know. On the left there are door hangers and also in the middle, and to the right is a sign that we will post out on the road. And here are some promotional pricing that we have currently. It is subject to change, but that's an example of what we offer currently. And that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
I have one question. How far along are you in the process now? If you could, I don't, 40% or if you know.
I'll
Oh,
let
okay.
these gentlemen, they know more about that.
Oh, all righty.
I'm new to these, so I think the rule is I say my name right, just for the record.
Yes.
I'm Daniel Watkins. I'm actually the engineering manager for the Fiber to the Home project in the state of Florida. And don't mistake my enthusiasm for what we're doing as sales. I do not work in sales.
Okay.
So currently us being here right now is a result of some of our folks being at the Big C meeting. And it was at that point that there was that interest from all the local communities, you know what I mean? So that's how we ended up here now. And the bad news is maybe we didn't get here early enough to have this conversation, but the good news is we are nearly done in Madeira Beach.
Oh, okay.
We will be complete. And here, I'll tell you, the idea of being complete in your city is kind of an ambiguous one, right? How many people did we build? That's the question. And so as of, I think, 2021, the census shows Madeira Beach is a population of about 4,000 people. So let's just take a high average and say there's 2 people per house. And this is single family homes. We are currently completing construction to 1,500 single family homes in your municipality alone. So that's a pretty good portion of those single family homes.
Yeah.
I say specifically single family because obviously there's condos, there's apartments and stuff. Those are coming. Those will be a second wave. The reason for that is those require a completely different kind of interior wiring and a much different relationship with those multi-tenant residents. So those will be coming. So that if there's anybody that knows about those communities, know that those are going to be gaining the same access that Dan talked about.
Well, we're
And
happy
we
to
should
have-
be done, I think, sorry, we should be done wrapping up in April, really, with everything in Madeira Beach.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Any other?
Happy for the competition. So, thank you.
There's a few places that it looks like you're not going. Are you
Can
going?
we roll back to that map? There we go. So, yeah, if you look, for the sake of Madeira, if you look at the stuff, obviously just north of the bridge on the beach side and the stuff just on the other side of the bridge, there are some residents there at both of those locations. It's not included here, but there is a project that's just outside of Madeira Beach that will be coming in from the north to feed some of those homes. And along the beach, as you know, I mean, I don't think there's anybody here who's not aware of the impact of the volume of construction we've done, the volume of permittings in just Madeira Beach. There will be, like I said, a second phase, and we will come in, and any of those homes that you're worried about, they will be included. And like I said, there's a section there that will be feeding some distribution. This map doesn't show what's called a drop or a tail. It's just, it's too small a facility to be shown on this kind of record. But like I said, if you look at the numbers, we are really 80% or better of your residents. And as well, I mean, like I said, I don't mean to go on, but there's a lot of stuff that provides as well. And Dan mentioned it, and the question we get a lot is the businesses, right? Oh, you're here for the business, you're here for the businesses. If you look at those orange lines that are there, those orange lines are already existing. For the businesses in the past that are like, we have to have fiber, we want to exist in Madeira Beach, but we need better internet, we need faster speeds. Those companies, they pay for it, and they pay for the construction. So as Dan mentioned, this isn't about those businesses, because the reality is the businesses are going to pay thousands of dollars to get the fiber across that bridge to them. This is a totally different initiative. This is something we're doing not just in Florida, but nationally. And this is directly to homes to provide the level of internet, the level of connectivity that is really needed, you know, in everybody's house now.
So, oh, one more.
That's,
In fact, one more, sorry.
let's go.
So after you come down my road and underground,
Mhm.
all the blue, and I decide to go with Frontier, it's only then that you come and put that thing on my house?
Yep.
Got it.
In some cases, there could be certain facilities that already exist there that we kind of, sometimes we are able to reuse a piece of pipe on the wall or things like that. But yeah, they'll come in and they'll install that device, and the fiber goes into your house and it goes to your router. And like I said, I'm a techie kind of person to begin with. So if I bore you, just everyone raise your hand. But what's interesting about it, and what Dan briefly mentioned, and I think it's important that people who aren't techie understand, right? In general, if you go back 15 years, most people had one device in their house, right? And the common service, I don't care who it is, us, competitors, people in other states, those devices that we put in your houses are really not capable of serving current needs. You take a common router, you're looking at a maximum of 10 to 15 devices before it starts really destroying your connectivity. And I think it's probably common. I know in my house, I have over 25 devices connected, and people don't even realize it. The new systems that come out and the products we bring into your house to provide that wireless service are a mesh setup. They can handle, in most cases, 35 plus devices. And so it allows a bandwidth that people think they don't need. And I'm not trying to say everybody needs a gig, everybody needs 2 gig, right? But the realistic use of what you use is often higher than what you assume, because a lot of those Internet of Things devices are constantly connected, and they're constantly updating and searching for updates, and those sort of things drain. And that's why really a 500 gig internet is got to be as common as, a refrigerator in your house at this point, which may also be connected to the internet, depending on your home.
Yeah. I'm done.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Vernon Burrell with Frontier Communications. I'm one of the construction managers here and in the area. And, as Dan was talking with our employees, and just a lot of the community that we've worked with, in areas that we worked with prior years as Verizon. The team members you see here, we're former Verizon. You're also seeing former GTE members. So the badge has changed over time, but the team members are still here. The same family that has serviced the community. Really, really happy to be in the area. As Dan was mentioning about the product upgrade, it doesn't only just service the opportunity for competition, but just getting out of the means of the old copper service. Some of we're near the water, how the copper, has taken toll on it, and for repairs and things like that. And formally being out here in the field with our team members, we've got our local management team and our center team support staff here as well, because we're here embracing it. As Dan mentioned earlier, we would have loved to have been here earlier. We had an opportunity to come to the BOC meeting just recent, for myself, I've been here about 5 years working in the area. So it was great to, kudos to Mayor Bill and Dave, inviting us there, and great chance to meet City Manager Robin and, Megan and the team here, working with the teams. We plan to be around as much as possible, post after we do the completion of the construction. To your point there, as far as what you see there on the outside of the house, sometimes those boxes, sometimes they're inside the garage as well. When it gets to that point for the installation side of it, it's a separate team. Those team members for the fiber optics, they do everything to possibly make sure that that's a clean installation into the home. And that comes directly from your side of your house where you saw the terminal that we placed there. So usually 4 homes or 8 homes, depending on how we set it up. But most of the part, there've been a couple of opportunities where we've had, damages and things like that. We're committed doing that follow-ups with the repairs on those things. Sometimes, unfortunate, there's unforeseeable issues, but our biggest thing is just the quality of the people that we have out here working. We continue to make sure to strive for the improvement. We've reached out to our operations team as a follow-up also, so that once we get to that point of the completion, and even once that phase 2, you'll have contacts and communications with those team members. So we're taking back our lessons learned, as well as just the point of contacts that we have, just to make sure we keep that communication tight with the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is public comment, and
Mr. Mayor, can I excuse you real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Can we go back to number 4? I don't think we approved the agenda.
You
Because I
are
want to make
absolutely
one
right.
change
Yep.
real quick.
okay.
If I may, can we, off the consent agenda, I would just like to move letter C to an unfinished business, not for any other reason. I just want to learn a little bit more about it. I don't remember talking about this. If you guys did before, I'm sorry, because I don't remember the purchase of the electric vehicle. I'm not against it, of course. I just want to know a little bit more about it. I've gotten a lot of questions from people in regards to the vehicles that are being purchased.
Okay, so you want to
And
move?
B as well. I had B and C on my list to pull, so.
So you want to move both of those to unfinished business?
That'd be fine by me, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, with that,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the changes of moving letters B and C off the consent agenda to unfinished business.
okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodson, Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
With that, it brings us to public comment. And first on public comment, I am going to change seats with Commissioner Hodges for the night. And as her last duty, she will be running the rest of this meeting. So with that, I'm going to move over one seat. I ate too much cake and temporary Mayor Hodges, come right over. The seat is yours.
So we're punishing her, is that it?
Definitely an upgrade.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here who would have a comment to be made? And when you come to the podium, just give your name and address, and that would be sufficient. Okay, then we'll just move on to the next item. We'll be talking about public hearings. And this is on ordinance 202204.
We have a consent agenda
Where
item
am I?
first.
We still have to approve the minutes.
Oh, the consent agenda.
Yeah.
So sorry. All right, do we have an approval on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Okay. City Clerk, can you take the roll?
Commissioner Andrews.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Okay. The next item will be on the ordinance 2022-04 regarding the speed limit designation.
I'll read that ordinance. So this is ordinance 2022-04, an ordinance of the city of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending section 66-34 to include speed limit designation for South Bay Shore Drive between 140th Avenue East and Island Drive and providing for an effective date hereof. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2022-04 by title only.
Okay, that was the second reading that we made. Is there any questions on it at this time? City Clerk, could you take a, excuse me, public comment? Any public comment on it? Okay, now it's the City Clerk's turn.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-04 on second reading.
Second.
Who seconded it?
The mayor.
I did, the guy hiding behind the bushes.
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
The next item on the agenda is ordinance 2022-05, and it's a proposed amendment to the city of Madeira Beach.
So I'll read this ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2022-05, an ordinance of the city of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending section 110-146, applicability of division of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Madeira Beach to add a definition of the term post and add dimensions for horizontal members in open fences, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. That was a reading of ordinance 2022-05 by title only. It was the first reading.
Okay, is there any questions on this with the commission? Any public comment on it?
You want? Is there a presentation?
Yes, if we could, pardon me.
What are we doing?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I have Linda Portel and Jenny Rowan here to just briefly provide some of the background and the details for this ordinance.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. Our current code requires only a 1.5-inch horizontal structure for fences, open fences, picket fence types. And the fence contractors have been telling us that's not actually enough to provide for stability in those fences, especially in waterfront lots where they're subjected to a lot of wind and salt. And so we've gone with the review with the fence companies and talked about the structure to make sure that we're proposing an amendment that would give them greater stability. So we, in the, you see in the memo that we provided a chart showing that what we're recommending is that horizontal members go from 1.5 to a 2.5, which was what is recommended, and that vertical members go from a 1.5 to a 3.5. The really important dimension in the fence ordinance is the separation between those pickets. But then also we wanted to make sure that the posts were addressed because usually a post is a little bit higher than the fence portion itself, but because we don't have a definition for that, our code doesn't allow for it technically. So we wanted to make sure that we were also specifying what was an allowable post size for both residential and commercial type fences, to provide stability all around and also just to recognize, you put a finial or something on top of a post and give some room for that in the code. The Planning Commission and the staff recommend approval of ordinance 2022-05 as recommended.
Okay, was there any discussion with the commission on this ordinance 2022-05?
Only that, thank you for helping us clean up the code and making it more workable for people wanting to put up fences and nice, strong fences. So, thank you.
We appreciate that. I'm glad for your patience because there's a whole lot more coming after
I
this.
I know.
Agreed.
Is there any comment in the audience on this? Okay, City Clerk, could you please
Nope.
take the roll?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and do
I'll
it.
make a motion that we pass ordinance number 2022-05.
I'll second.
Okay, City Clerk, now it's your turn.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrews.
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next item is on ordinance 2022-06.
I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2022-06, an ordinance of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 110 zoning, Section 110-261 setback requirements for C1 Tourist Commercial District, Section 110-321 setback requirements for C3 Retail Commercial District, Section 110-351 setback requirements for C4 Marine Commercial District of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Madeira Beach, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. That was the first reading of ordinance 2022-06 by title only.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So we will address three proposed setbacks in in our three commercial districts. So I'll go through all of our commercial districts, and I have a presentation that was on the dais and is also on the TV. So first is the C1 zoning district. This zoning district is in Johns Pass Village. And many of these buildings are built that has like a main street quality with a focus on pedestrian activity. Most main streets have no setbacks along the front and side yards to encourage pedestrian activity. Many existing buildings within Johns Pass Village were built with shared walls and limited to no side setbacks. Staff proposes reducing the rear yard setback from 25 to 20 feet. This reduction provides enough space for an 18-foot parking stall, which is consistent with the parking standards. And staff proposes eliminating the side yard setbacks to create a more pedestrian-friendly Main Street quality. As you can see up here, just a snapshot of Village Boulevard and what's existing. So there's a range of from 20 feet, 15 feet. This almost looks like there's 0 feet from the rear. And most of these have no setbacks in the front, no setbacks on the side. So moving along to C3, this zoning district is on the east side of Gulf Boulevard. It's everything in this bright red. We're proposing to reduce the front yard setback to 15 feet to provide a more pedestrian-friendly atmosphere along Gulf Boulevard, while providing adequate space between buildings and sidewalks in the right-of-way for landscaping and signage. So many of these buildings are currently from 0 to 25 setback. There's a huge range there. Gulf Boulevard was expanded in the past, and so a lot of that expansion reduced that setback. And I think that's why you see a lot of that zero line setback, as you can see in this example here. For lots wider than 80 feet, multifamily and tourist dwellings are required to use 33% of the property width for side setbacks. Staff recommends reducing the side yard setback to 10 feet for multifamily and tourist dwellings, with no change proposed to the additional 5 feet required when abutting residential uses. And here's a visual of the 15 front setback. And a visual of a 25-foot front setback. Now to C4, this is the Marine Commercial Zoning District. There's only a few spots in Madeira Beach with the C4 zoning district. That's almost like this maroon color.
Oh, okay.
The proposed changes to the side setbacks in the C4 are identical to those in C3 above, except for the addition of the 5 feet of landscaping abutting residential uses. And Planning Commission and staff recommend approval of ordinance 2022-06.
Is there any questions among the commission on this?
I have a question.
Sure.
All this looks good to me, except the C3 retail commercial, which is along the east side of Gulf Boulevard. Right now, the current setback should, for, I guess, new buildings being built, because we have some that encroach in it, but for new build is 25 feet and we want to reduce it to 15. How does that make it better for pedestrians? I think it would be making it worse for pedestrians
No,
to have the buildings closer to the street. Or am I
no,
getting
no,
this wrong?
Actually, when you're trying to create a pedestrian atmosphere, you want the buildings up closer to the sidewalk so people have something to look at and interact with. And when you have 25 feet, usually what you get is a whole bunch of parking up in front of the building instead. It creates a parking lot all along the street.
I see.
If you move the buildings up and they park behind or underneath, it just creates a better atmosphere on the street. You'll remember we recently were talking about the Schooner project as proposed would have its building up within 10 feet of the sidewalk, and there's room enough to put like cafe or sidewalk activities, but you don't create this wide open unmaintained space. On the pictures that you saw that had like the 25-foot setback, you're looking at parking lot. It just paved all the way to the building. It's considered a hostile, non-pedestrian atmosphere. So for design perspective, the other issue is that most of them don't have a 25-foot setback. They may have started out with that, but when Gulf Boulevard expanded, they lost 17 feet of their front yard. So almost everything along there is non-conforming now. This would help bring them into closer conformance and then also ensure that if new buildings come up, they're built more along the lines of what's there instead of being forced even further back than they were originally. Because right now, if you take that 17 feet back and then somebody wants to develop and you tell them you have to set back another 25 feet, there's not a lot of on those shallow lots to put a commercial type development.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, if there's buildings that are non-conforming now
Mhm.
and they need to be rebuilt, are they allowed to rebuild them within a year after tearing down the old ones to those same non-conforming standards?
Now, if you tear the building all the way down, you'd have to come into new compliance with new codes. The 1-year reestablishment is usually applied to abandoning a building, but then coming back and putting the business back into that same building. But once you tear something down, the code requires you to bring it back into conformance. If it came down by some sort of declared emergency, then we could do a redevelopment.
Okay.
And in this case, what would probably happen, honestly, is given the loss of that much property along the road when the highway expanded, it would be pretty difficult to build with the proper setbacks and get your parking and your drainage in with a 25-foot setback and another setback in the rear. And so you end up with a situation where people have to come in and get a variance every time they want to develop along the highway, which is not optimal.
Okay. Do we see something happening where like Gulf Boulevard will be widened again?
Um, I don't anticipate that. Actually, that's the opposite direction that
Right.
highway design is going. If we would want to expand anything, it would probably be more along the sidewalks and landscape to try to make it a less hostile environment or a more complete street, but we don't have a program for that locally. And the state is not anticipating actually expanding their highways along the seacoast.
Okay. I'm still having trouble with this. We're seeing more scooters, more bicycles that are being forced on the sidewalks because of traffic and things like that. And we're starting to make some wider sidewalks. I think and Schooner was planning on 8.5 feet, and I'm hoping that we're going to continue that
Yes,
up
and
and down.
sure, but even with the 15 feet sidewalk or setback, if somebody comes in with a new sidewalk, they're going to need to bring it up to current standards, and typically we'd get at least a 5-foot sidewalk. And, you know, the right kind of landscaping and setback. It does bring the building up closer. It's more of a kind of old town look than the strip of parking that develops when you have a wide setback. One way or the other, if you require people to set the building back that far, they're going to have to use the property up there because there's not a lot in the depth of those lots. So if a building can't come up there, it's going to be parking.
Okay.
I know it's kind of counterintuitive, really. You narrow it so that they can't put parking there. And we don't want people pulling in and out onto Gulf Boulevard anyway, really. We'd rather see parking on the side or the back.
Right. Well,
But-
and Jenny was making the point too, that you're talking about things that would be expanded within the right of way. We're not reducing the right of way measurement. We're just talking about the distance from the property line to the setback. So it would still not encroach. It's still 15 feet beyond the right of way line. So it's 15 feet beyond the existing sidewalk and setbacks for the road.
Okay.
Sidewalk, the road, the landscaping, all of that, what is the right of way would remain the same. You'd be setting back from the right of way line, not, or from the property line.
Okay, so does the right of way include the sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay. We don't really have a devil strip or anything. It's just, I hate the idea of pushing the sidewalk and everything right up next to the road or,
Right. The sidewalk would be built within the existing right of way anyway. We don't require them to bring sidewalk up onto their property.
okay.
So it doesn't push the sidewalk any different location than it is. All of that stays intact because it's actually state right of way.
Okay. And permeable ground, that's all going to be.
Jenny has a comment.
You can see in the slideshow or the slide with the C3 where this is the right of way, and then here is the property line. This is from the Pinellas County Property Appraisers. So sometimes it's right on the back of the sidewalk. You can see here. There's some places where it goes out like a few feet. So you might have the sidewalk and then you'll have a few feet of grass and then that's where your property line is.
And
Or
that's the
you-
point you would count the 15
That's where
feet.
you would start that 15 feet.
We do have some spots along there where the buildings are actually, you know, almost up to the sidewalk now, like the
Sweet
new
Brunette.
West events, because it was built that way. And then when they expanded the highway, they took the whole front yard away. But we wouldn't be permitting anything that close again. So that building, if it were that area, if it was redeveloped, would have to be pushed further back to give more of a setback than it has now. Nothing that close would be allowed.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still having trouble with this. Questions?
I'd like to commend you guys on your choice of businesses to use as exhibits here. Very well done. And Frank, I'm going to be submitting a permit for a beer cave for 10 feet further closer to the, no, I'm just kidding. No, I understand. And Dave, I totally understand conceptually. It's tough to realize, but I think I kind of get what you guys are talking about as far as bringing it closer. It's not really going to change the width of the sidewalk, and it's really not going to change anything that's currently there. But anything going forward has to build back 15 feet. Is that pretty much where we're at?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's all I needed.
Okay, any other questions up here? Is there any questions in the audience? City Clerk, if you take the roll on this,
Need a motion.
excuse me, we need.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2022-06.
I'll second.
Mayor Hendricks,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes,
Commissioner Andrews.
Yes,
Commissioner Hudson.
No.
The motion carried 4-1.
the next object on here is ordinance 202207.
Yes, I'll read this ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2022-07, an ordinance of the city of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending the capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan of the city of Madeira Beach to update the capital improvement program, CIP, schedule of the capital improvements for fiscal years 2021 through 2025, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. That was the first reading of ordinance 2022-07 by title only.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, every year the city has to update its capital improvement element within its comp plan to reflect the budget that you have approved and all of the capital improvement plans. Anything that's worth over $100,000, you have to keep a running 5-year program for your capital improvements. So what's being recommended for approval here is actually the plan board's amendment of the comp plan to reflect the budget you've already adopted for this fiscal year. Typically, we'd have it come to you a little earlier, but as you recall, in the fall, we couldn't seat a complete planning commission because of vacancies. So this will be coming back to you probably within a few months already, because once we start the new budget, we'll get it into the process a little bit quicker. So again, this is only a portion of what you've already approved as your capital improvement plan, just that portion dealing with items over 100,000, and then comparing them to all of the improvements that are listed and the levels of service listed through the comp plan to make sure that they're compatible. The planning staff and the planning commission recommend approval of ordinance 2022-07.
Are there any questions regarding this? Is there any questions in the,
I have some questions.
okay, go ahead.
I'm writing all over this thing because I was trying to, in our packet, everything with a line drawn through it is now out and everything underlined is now in. And a lot of it is the same, right?
Yes, sometimes things are just moved down per year, or it's crossing out the old capital improvements plan, and then specifying which items are being added in under fiscal year 2021 and 22. So you see there's a chart. The first chart has all the crossouts, and then there are individual charts for each year to show how the new big grid would work.
So like the sea level rise resiliency study is off, right?
Because we've done that.
It's completed.
It's
Okay.
completed.
I don't recall us talking about, looks like almost $5 million for Gulf Boulevard improvements. $1 million a year?
You may want to ask Department
Andrew?
Head Wepfer to go over the
And we,
scheduling and the plan for that kind of a project, the public works projects.
Just tell me what we,
Good
Not that we
evening.
don't need $1 million worth of improvement on Gulf Boulevard, but I don't recall. what-
That's the undergrounding for all of Gulf.
Oh,
Boulevard.
got it.
That's
Okay.
the, yeah, that's the
well,
penny.
Okay, we should name it that. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And go-
Um,
And I mean, you bring up a good point. Going forward, there'll be a brief narrative that
Mhm.
will be part of this to explain a little bit,
Okay.
in a little bit more detail.
Got it.
So, and then we also have recreation expansion. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to go through this or
But these are all things you've already approved and they're either
well, they're
completed or
renamed to where I
changed.
don't know what they are? So
Uh,
it's
this
not
came-
helpful to me when I'm
This came,
studying.
this is a list directly from the finance in your budget,
Right, that was approved back in September.
right? We didn't create any new categories or alter anything. This directly came out of the budget documents and was provided by finance.
Okay, so what is recreation expansion costs? For 2000, for this? We've got 200,000.
In the current fiscal year.
Yeah, the current fiscal year.
Yeah, wasn't that the back? I thought we tabled it, so.
I don't know, because I don't recall us talking about expansion of, so,
I'm trying to pull it up as well, just to
Okay.
see. I'm not,
Right, it's not, these are not any additions, as Ms. Portel stated. These are what was approved back in September. We can,
But I
Well-
remember them giving us like 2 or 3 options, and one of them was extending the back of the building. And one was
then we
adding
talked about a
on
basketball court and closing that and stuff like
Closing
that, but we
business.
put the kibosh on all that.
I
That's why
thought
I'm
so
saying, I don't
too.
know what this
Whi-
is.
Which is why it was apparently in a plan earlier, but it's being crossed out. You made it crossed out because you deleted it from the budget or because it was completed. As I said, this is it's a recap of, actions you've already taken in the budget. They didn't provide us with exact detail on every single item. But we'll do that next year. We'll have them give us a complete rundown.
Well, it makes it hard for me to vote on this now. Because I don't know. I mean, I'll take your word for it this time, I guess. Because apparently we don't have all this detail, but
Yeah, so that, yeah, they didn't give it to us because it's in the budget documents as, it's things that you've already talked about and
Okay.
voted on.
well, it doesn't mean we have to spend it. So
No,
I
you
guess we
didn't.
can at least report it as something we've discussed in the future, what we're going to looking at, but that doesn't mean we're going to spend it.
Right, you
That's
can
correct.
always
Okay.
amend, you amend all of this as you get
don't want-
closer. We're
this
always making
works.
changes.
Is the boardwalk study in here at all? I thought we were planning on doing that this year.
I don't think it's
Uh,
that expensive. I think it's less than 100,000.
Oh,
Take it out there.
We've got in 2022, Johns Pass Village Boulevard, Area 5, we've got $5 million.
Mhm.
I don't know what Area 5 is, but
Would you like me to?
yes.
Area 5 is 131st, 129th, and Pelican.
So that's not the boardwalk.
No,
Okay.
that's, yeah, that's a little different.
So okay.
The boardwalk was less than 100,000 though, right, Meg? Isn't that what, when we were going to do the,
When we were gonna redesign.
yeah.
I don't know that that included the pavement of the streets.
No. I was,
For
I
a
think
redesign.
whatever he was talking
Just
about
trying to
was
figure.
the boardwalk, the
Pilings?
refurbishing it and doing the pilings on the boardwalk.
Less than 100, correct.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
it's not on this list.
Okay.
While you're standing, are we anywhere on that? Are we moving
Yes,
forward?
I'm
Okay,
working on that.
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it's, I was gonna say, while we're on the subject, I remember originally it was going to cost $1 million, maybe 2 million to do all of Gulf Boulevard on the undergrounding. Now we're double that. And we had spoken about going ahead and finishing that whole project up, but I see it continuing to 2023, 2024, 2025.
I believe that's because of the repayment from the penny money. It's reimbursed, and maybe Andrew can speak to that. I don't know the reimbursement schedule.
This is for the undergrounding project?
Correct.
I'd have to check into that. The question is in terms of the pace of the project?
Yeah, because as I understood the pace, we were going to go ahead and
Correct.
finish up Gulf Boulevard. Now we'll be getting money from Pennies for
Reimbursements.
Pinellas
Yes.
for a number of years going forward to pay the city back. But I think we're piggybacking on to Reddington Beaches.
Yes, that contract has
Contract.
been signed, and then at the meeting last month, you approved task 1. So
Yep.
we are working. We should have some numbers
Okay,
soon, hopefully. But yeah, we're still on track to finish.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have nothing else.
Did you have anything? Dave, do you have anything on this? Did you have a question on this? No, okay. Do we have any information from the audience on this?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-07.
I'll second.
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges.
Yes,
The motion carried 5-0.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is for resolution 2022-04.
Read that resolution by title only, Resolution 2022-04, resolution of the City Commission of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, authorizing the city to enter into a state-funded grant agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, for the purpose of construction services for the Madeira Beach Roadway Improvements Project, finding that a public purpose will be served by entering into such agreement, authorizing the mayor to execute the state-funded grant agreement and providing for an effective date hereof. That was a reading of Resolution 2022-04 by title only.
Good evening again. This was an addition to the agreement that was accepted. I accidentally missed the resolution, so this is just to execute that grant for Area 3.
Area
So
3, I believe, is Marguerite and,
Mhm.
East Parsley, West Parsley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marguerite, Linway,
A Street, B Street.
So we say in here, staff has budgeted 2 million for this project in fiscal year 2022. And here the page before,
Choose 1 million.
we say 5,520,000. I mean,
That
this is
was that Area 5 or Area 3?
3. Look on page 90 of our packet. Under fiscal year 2022, we have Parsley Drive, Marguerite Droplet, Series 3, 5 million. And in the very next page, we say we budgeted 2 million.
There is $2 million in 22 for this area. And then there's an additional $2 million in fiscal year 23 for Area 3.
Okay, so that's one thing we need to split into 2.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
And we'll
Yeah.
review
Alright.
these because there's a little bit, I think, years where these are estimates. And then once we actually determine the more precise cost combined with getting the grants from from the Florida Department of Transportation, then we get a much more accurate, and it is broken out over multiple years.
Okay.
The goal is to try to have them, I mean, completed in the same year, but that doesn't happen. And so we will make those adjustments so that we're most accurately listing what the correct cost would be rather than showing really just the total estimate for it. Right, because I have up on the screen where what you just pointed out,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor, Area 3, and it says Series 2019 at 5.52 million for the current fiscal year. Then for the following fiscal year, excuse me, in 23, I'm sorry, that's a different area, Area 6 at 4.4
So that's a
million.
totally, yeah. Okay.
And right.
So I just,
And,
just to
and so,
explain my confusion here with our capital improvement plan being different than the very next thing that we
And,
vote on.
right, and it does get updated every year, and so we'll make sure that it is updated it's updated annually for the preceding 5 years. And this, we just have not updated for the next 5 years. That didn't, it appears that did not happen in September when this was brought to you. I mean, I'm just kind of inferring that because they are different numbers. So when we bring this before you for the fiscal year 23, these numbers are going to be different. This schedule will obviously be updated. The one that you just pointed out, Vice Mayor, will be updated with much more correct or accurate
Correct.
totals and costs rather than
Because
what's
that's
listed
$3
up
million
here.
well,
of
and
weirdness.
I wasn't going to mention this yet, but I was told it was okay to. I've been in correspondence with Representative Cheney, and we've got another $1 million coming to us from the state. It has passed the House and the Senate, has to go to the governor to be signed, but we've got another $1 million coming to us for road work.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Anytime you say I've talked to
Right.
Representative Cheney, it's nothing but good news.
She's a rock star for us.
She's,
Megan, I got two quick questions. Number one, what is the kind of time frame for this project? I get asked about it all the time. The Parsley project to get kicked off.
Currently, we are starting the surveying on April 1st. That's the plan. This is the next item, so we're kind of jumping in front.
Just
I
don't
don't
come
know.
back and say, just fooling.
Yeah,
Do we want to wait for the next item, or I can just go ahead? So we're planning to start surveying on April 1st, and then we're planning to bid out the project August, September. We have to, due to the grant, we have to then send it to DOT for their
Right.
approval. So
Okay.
that's going to take a month and a half.
No,
possibly.
that's
So
all I needed. That's good.
my plan
And-
is to start in November.
Okay. And secondly, and this is on Vice Mayor Price's comment, because I do agree with her that I would rather come in under budget. That's great. But right now, you kind of said 2 million for 2022, another 2 million for 2023, and then we're getting 549,000 from them. So we're roughly 4.6. Is that a projection of where we think we're going to come in on this? Instead of the 5.5, we think we're going to come in.
I
I'm
think
not going to hold you to it. I just kind of want to.
we're going to be somewhere around. It's very hard to tell right now with construction prices. Everything's through the roof. Now
Right.
what it is currently and fuel prices, there's no telling what it's going to be like in the next 6 months. So
Right,
Um,
right. And that's why a
should,
lot of these,
yes.
and what a lot of these, like the thing we just approved, we have no idea. It'd be great to come in under budget. I mean, obviously, we learned our lesson with the Crystal Island project, putting it at 6 million. It came in at 11 or 12 million or whatever. the
this
heck it-
one's going to be much different. We're not rebuilding the roads.
Right. So and so that's good. So we're not going to do this. So I mean, and I don't want to go backwards here, but we did have a project scheduled for, what's that Whopper? 2024 on 140th, 15.2 million. I mean, that's a pie in the sky, I guess, right? We don't have any particular clue what the construction.
I would imagine that personally, I did not put that into
Okay.
the CIP. So
I mean, it's a placeholder, right? So I don't want to get
Correct.
all worked up about
Yeah.
it. I'm just, the number is it's impossible to try to calculate something like that 2 through 3 years out at this
Yes.
particular point in
That's
time. Okay.
also a very large area that covers. as
Oh, no,
well.
no, no, no. I know it's going to be expensive. I just wonder where we get the money at this point, but it's going to be expensive and
Mhm.
it's good to have a placeholder that it'd be nice to come in under budget on it, but at least we know what it roughly estimate of what we're talking about. If it was built today, it would be, right? Is that kind of what that number would be? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Just to provide a little clarification, ordinance 2022-07, those numbers you see there are from the FY 2021 adopted budget,
For the prior year,
which is the prior year. So
Yeah,
what?
not the current year,
What
the
Megan's
prior year.
referring to and what's in their agenda memo that shows the $2 million budget is from the most recent FY 2022 adopted budget.
Yep.
So estimates have changed from when we went through the budgeting process in the summer of 2020 to the summer of 2021.
Okay, is there any other questions on this? Is there anyone in the audience has anything to say about this? Do we have an approval on it?
Motion for resolutions?
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 2022-04 regarding the Florida Department of Transportation State Funded Grant Agreement.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Okay, then next item, Megan, I'm not sure, was this one that you had brought up that we already discussed? It's regarding the East Parsley, West Parsley. Mark,
I think
Actually-
we need to go back to
back to one.
What we
those
pulled off
things
the
that were pulled off the
consent.
consent
agreement.
agenda.
Yeah.
Surplus 2004 John Deere Gator.
I just don't remember discussing this, and I don't like things on the consent agenda that I've never seen before, so just explain it.
Okay, I'll keep it short. Good evening, Mayor Commissioners. So we have John Deere Gator that's 2004. It's a 6x4. It's one of the pieces of equipment that we usually use out on the fields.
Mhm.
2020, we replaced it. We had not yet surplused it. Just, we were still kind of using it as needed whenever. We've essentially run it to the ground. We had to push it on a trailer and take the trailer to the yard and push it off of the trailer to get it there. Most recently, though, the Madeira Beach Youth Baseball and Softball Organization has taken over the use of Roselli Park and TI, and they're looking for a piece of equipment to utilize to prepare the fields themselves there. So we found this as an opportunity to surplus that Gator as is. We're not going to do any repairs to it. They're prepared to do so as needed. And then we were going to, once surplus, we were going to give it to them for their use as a donation. The vehicle itself, like I said, 2004, it hasn't held value probably in 10 years. The book value is, it's nothing. And we've run every bit of use out of it. So I've got staff younger in my department than that piece of equipment. So anyway, so that's where we are. We're going to surplus it and donate it to them and go from there.
Well, I would have no problem with it. The only thing is, since you're talking about it being in Treasure Island, I'd like to see a big fat Madeira Beach logo on it.
It actually says Pinellas County on it. It's that old. I think we got it from them. But I think we can
we'll
put
a
some
logo.
stickers on it.
Put some stickers on it.
Okay.
Well, I was hoping you'd pop up with something as soon as you
Doesn't
saw
that
the
sound
Treasure
good?
Island thing, yeah. Well, if it's really worth zero, I don't know about giving away city equipment. I know, it's gotta be worth something.
I've been on it. It's worth less than zero. Yeah, we couldn't pay somebody to take it off our hands, to be honest with you. It's old.
Mr. Trask, do you see a problem with donating it?
No, and in fact, first of all, just so you know, there is no, under the Florida statutes, there is only provisions relating to surplusing equipment for the county. There is no specific requirement for the city. You can surplus this piece of equipment. My experience in the past is that usually these things are given away, if they are given away, that they are given to some type of 501c3 organization or another governmental agency. For example, fire trucks to a fire department in rural Virginia, somewhere like that. So, but this is a good opportunity for you. If it has no value, you have the ability to do it. It is a 501c3, and so you're going to get the benefit of that as well.
Okay,
So,
good.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any questions from the commissioners on this again? Any questions from the audience?
I make a motion, we approve the surplusing of 2004 John Deere Gator tractor, Gator, whatever it is, Gator 6x4.
I'll second it.
Mm,
Mayor Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrews.
Yes.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Yes.
carried 5.
Okay, now we're on this one. Okay. See.
Item C.
All right, let's see. This is on the purchase of electric vehicles and charging vehicles.
And we have our building official, Frank DeSantis.
Good evening, Mayor and the Commissioners. I'm very happy to bring this forward to put in front of you. The Building Department wants to take a great opportunity to purchase 2 new vehicles for the Building Department and Code Enforcement. I put a lot of the numbers in front of you, and working with the Florida Sheriff's Association under the statewide purchasing contract, we got a really good price on both vehicles. And with the current market right now for resale, we got very good prices on our trade-in. The numbers that you don't see in front of you, just to give you an example, looking at my truck, the original 2015 truck, the trade-in value they're going to give us for it is $24,500. I purchased that back in 2015 for $27,300. Okay. And the other number you don't see is the Ford Fusion 2018. That was trade-in value of $14,000. The purchase price that we paid for back in 2018 was $17,000. So the resale numbers are high, and with the gas prices going up high, it's a great opportunity for the city to take a step forward and going green. And the building department would like to start that, hopefully. And there's a lot of other incentives in here too. I should go over some of them with you. Note on the bottom, Duke Energy has approved our rebate offer of $1,175 towards our charging stations. Okay, that's one benefit. And to give you a couple of numbers, I did a lot of homework and I did work with Andrew on this also. Our Duke rate, kilowatt rate, is 0.1169 or 12 cents per unit. Just to give you a comparison cost per mile, if we go electric, it's 6 cents per mile. If we stay with our gas, it's 34 cents per mile. Just to give you an example of the savings. The maintenance cost alone is less than 50% of what we're doing now on gas. That's another huge factor. And I'll give you another example. The gas fill up, for example, on my truck, 23 gallons at $4.50 a gallon is $103.50 to fill it up. And the electric charge, which is an 8-hour charge, is $10. So it's a difference of 1/10 the cost of what we're doing now. And again, this is with the statewide purchasing contract with the Florida Sheriff's Association. It's about all I have to offer. If you have any other questions, please. feel free.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I didn't really have any questions. I just wanted you to be able to go up here and brag about it. That's all.
I'm all excited
All right,
about it.
that's all, that's
Commissioner.
all I
I'm all
wanted. No,
excited
no, I
about it.
got asked a bunch of questions about it. I'm glad you just, because I'll tell you what, you explained everything that I needed to know. So thank you.
And that's out of the building fund, right?
That's one thing I did want to mention too. That's out of the building reserve funds. It's not one penny or one dime out of the general fund or Fund One. Everything's out of the building reserve funds. And this has already been pre-approved in my capital for this year. These two vehicles. It's just a great opportunity with the cost of gas and the resale value. It's, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer.
So that truck was never in the fleet?
No, sir. I
Okay,
paid for that back in 2015.
okay.
That truck's got 40,000 miles on it.
Okay,
So it's $10,000 to put in the charging station, right?
We guesstimated $10,000. The underground electric is $6,300. You'll
Right.
see that.
So
So there's a-
16,300 to set up the charging station? Oh,
No. The $6,300 is to do the electric from the transformer next to the firehouse to the 2 parking spaces there.
Okay.
We're going to save $3,700 because Ford is the only manufacturer that gives you a charging station with the purchase of the vehicle. No other
But it's
manufacturer
still
does
going
that.
to cost us $16,300 to set up the
Mm.
charging station and install it or wire it.
No, ma'am, $6,300.
So where's the 10,000 come from that I'm reading?
The 10,000 that was budgeted?
No, all right, background, staff. See the 3 bullet points? Electric charging
oh, yeah,
station,
yeah.
10,000.
Yes, that's the number that I put in the capital for the charging station after doing our,
Oh, but
homework.
that's not what it is.
no, ma'am,
It's only 6.
6,300 for the installation.
Now, one last thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, 63 for the installation and a free charger.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Ford.
Yeah, those 3 bullet points, I mean, are the budget. That's what
Yes.
was included in the current year
Okay.
budget, 60 for one vehicle, 30 for the other, and 10 for the electrical, the
What I
100,000.
don't like is the optics of a code enforcement person running around in a Mustang. And neither do our citizens.
No
If they
offense.
had a Ford Fusion, let's get them another Ford Fusion.
Ford doesn't make Ford Fusion. And if you look at the Ford Mustang,
I still don't like it.
I think you'll agree with me, it's a 4-door hatchback Mustang. It's not a mock.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a 4-door hatchback Mustang. And Ford doesn't make sedans anymore. That's all they make. Those small.
I don't like it. I don't think that's, and the Fusion's a 2018.
Yes, ma'am.
It's only 4 years old.
Yes, ma'am. It's 4 years old.
I mean,
Well-
we're gonna go broke saving money at this rate.
Well, again, this comes out of the building reserve funds.
I know, but that doesn't mean we have to, I don't know. I don't like it. I've heard from a lot of people that don't like it. I don't like the optics of it. Of a Mustang. They've got to make it a different car that's electric. I just, really, code enforcement running around in a Mustang? I just don't, I don't think it
It's-
looks, I don't think it's a
It's
good
a,
look.
it's a 4, I have a picture of it if you'd like to see it, but it's a 4-door sedan. Looks just like the Fusion. And they don't make the Fusion anymore. I have a picture of it. I'll
Show it
be
to
more than
me.
happy to show it to you.
I'm not gonna like, not look at all the evidence. I just don't know why we have to get rid of a car after 4 years.
Well, essentially converting it to an I mean, I agree, but it's the conversion to electric, but
It's just like the Fusion. 4-door.
fairly similar. Yeah.
That looks pretty sexy. To me, I mean.
Just, yeah, if you want to pass the,
so do we need to buy vehicles that are US made? Or is that part of our normal requirement?
Well, I was looking under the Florida Sheriff's Association, the cooperative purchasing program, and there's many vehicles in there. But for the best value, in my opinion, it's the Ford. Out of all of them, the Ford was the best value at this time. And again, with the resale numbers and the gas prices going up,
Okay.
that's why I
and
bring it in front of you.
On an F-150, if you bought a new gas-powered F-150, we would be talking how much money?
$70,000.
yeah, they're Crazy
For that same,
expensive.
Same vehicle, only gas or hybrid, 70,000. Yeah. It's the gas that's driving it up. And again, with the electric, you're going less than 50% of maintenance on that. So there's no oil changes, no belts, no.
yeah, I'm not against this. I'm just trying to get the right, to get it across to the people that think that we're spending money needlessly.
Again, going with the sheriff's cooperative program, the purchasing program, those are the lowest prices for the entire state. And we would be dealing with the Ford dealer out of Orlando. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but we've been working back and forth with them to get these numbers. And again, they're the lowest possible numbers out there.
I think it's a good first step on getting us into electric vehicles. I was kind of looking forward to a Yugo, but
No.
No. I'd also, I mean, and also if you look, we budgeted $100,000 for it. My math gets us to Frank spending about $61,300, knocks our gas bill down to basically nothing. And that's with all the installs. So basically it's $100,000 budget. We just saved 40 grand, nearly 40 grand and countless dollars in fuel costs. So, I mean, I think we should give him a round of applause because I think all of our department heads should be looking for ways to save that kind of money for us.
Thank you.
It's a way to see how these electric vehicles will do for the city. I mean, we've got to get our feet wet at one time or another. So.
Yes, sir. Any other questions? No? Let me take this opportunity to say farewell to you, Mayor Hodges. I've been here for the past 8 years and you've worked with us and we've worked with you tirelessly and you've been great support for us. Everybody, I'm speaking for everybody downstairs. We're going to simply miss you, deeply miss you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, everybody.
You can call her your favorite commissioner. Nobody's going to get offended.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Is there any information from the audience?
Anne Marie Brooks, 425 150th Avenue. So I know that this Mustang is controversial because it's a Mustang. I think that when people hear that, they think a sports car. If you look it up and you look at the picture, it's clearly not a sports car. It's more of a family sedan style vehicle. And I think that the commission voted for it to be part of the budget. It's something you need. I can understand getting a new car every 4 years when you're driving a city vehicle. So I think you should vote for it.
Do we have a resolution on this?
I'll make a motion to approve for the approval of the use of capital budget funds to purchase 2 new all-electric vehicles, including charging stations and electrical installation.
I'll second.
Commissioner Andrews?
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks?
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price?
No.
The motion carried 4-1.
The next item, I'm not sure if this is the correct one or not. This is yours, Megan?
Yeah.
It is? Okay. It's for Area 3, East Parsley, West Parsley, Marguerite, Linway, A Street, B Street, professional surveying.
Good evening again. So what you have before you is for the approval for us to start the design, surveying, engineering, permitting for Area 3, which includes all the streets as listed. In your packet, you have a breakdown of what is exactly included and on this scope. And as I stated before, we are not totally rebuilding these roads like we did in Crystal Island. We will be doing, we've already coordinated with Pinellas County. There are a few water mains that will need to be replaced. So we will enter an agreement with them, just like we did with Crystal, for any costs accrued for the utilities through Pinellas County. So we will be doing new storm curbs, mill and resurface. And that will be it. Do we have any questions?
Are you putting in WAPRO valves?
I'm sorry,
Are you putting in WAPRO valves?
in that area, that's,
Well, probably may not be any.
well, that wouldn't be included in on this. Once we get through the design and kind of see where we at with those, that area doesn't really flood. It does in a few spots, but that's something that could be done totally after the fact. Doesn't need to be included in on the project as a whole.
Okay.
Megan, and I ask this every time we do a road project, so bear with me.
Okay.
I do see paint markings of buried utilities, so we're not burying the utilities on this project then, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
Frontier has already gone through this area, which is great.
Oh, they did.
Correct. Yes.
Yes, they did.
Book
Okay.
everything so we don't have to.
Yes, they
Okay.
did.
So, but now, did they bury stuff?
They buried their fiber optics.
They buried
yes.
their fiber optics,
Correct,
but we still have our stuff up top, right?
Spectrum and Duke Energy on the poles.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I guess have a comment as I read through the proposal from Dual and Associates. And they, of course, list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 6 specific things they're gonna do. And of course, then we have the catch-all on page 99, hourly items. Any item not specifically stated in items 1 through 5 will be billed at our previously provided fee schedule. I just want to make sure that the previously provided fee schedule doesn't allow them to charge us hourly for administrative tasks and filing.
I believe that's just has to be put on there in the event
No.
that does happen. But we will stick to the scope with no additional cost unless absolutely needed.
Okay.
Well, I specifically
not-
remember
Yeah.
that $500,000 bill we had from them where they were charging us for every phone call, every email. They nickel and dimed us to where the bill was astronomical. And I have not been a fan of Dual and Associates since then.
I will ensure that that does not happen, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, why don't we agree to, if you go 10 cents over $165,000, you need to come back to us.
Yeah, but, and we will. I mean, if it's,
Absolutely.
yeah, if
Okay.
it's going
It
to
will,
exceed.
yeah, we'll have to.
All right, because we didn't get it the first time.
We will
We were-
make sure.
we
There,
already
the
paid the
purchase
bill
order,
by
the
the
purchase
time
order
we
will be
found
filled
that.
out
Okay,
exactly at
Not
100.
to exceed that amount.
Correct.
all right. Oops. So I'll make a motion, I guess, contract, that we agree to the proposal for professional surveying, engineering. Oh, wait a minute.
We need to find out if there's anyone in the audience
Yeah.
that has a remark on this. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry for jumping the
All
gun.
right.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal for professional surveying, engineering, permitting, and construction of Area 3, and that it does not exceed $165,000.
I'll second it.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Mayor Hendricks.
No,
The motion carried 4-1.
Feisties tonight.
The next item on the agenda is the RFP 21-03 mowing and lawn maintenance services.
Hey there. Good evening again. Sorry, I was ready and then I wasn't. So this is just a recap of the mowing and lawn maintenance RFP that we approved at the workshop a couple weeks ago. Just looking to award the contract tonight to Natural Designs Landscaping. It is $33,600 annually. This year would only cost us half of that. And it would be we would begin that on April 1st and it would run through the end of the year. So with the savings from our other contract essentially quitting on us and what we have remaining, it wouldn't cost us anything extra this year budget wise. So there'd be no budget movement here. Moving into FY 23, 24, and 25, we would need to budget the 33,600 for that. So we did put out the bid. We received the 2 bids. They were the lowest and the highest responding as far as the scoring, experience, everything else that we got from them. So we were looking to approve that and then begin that on April 1st. They are ready to go. I just have to collect their insurance and all that other information for the contract on the 1st. But if you guys have any questions, you can let me know. But otherwise, we're ready to go. Yes, sir.
Jay, is this strictly for mowing? Are they going to be doing some fertilizing for us? Any kind of other mulching or anything?
They do have the expertise to do that. That was discussed kind of, it wasn't part of the bid. We were just looking for mowing, edging and all that other stuff. My plan moving forward, it is 33,600 a year. I was going to probably ask you all for about $5,000 on top of that for potential fertilizer, any other improvements that we need to do, herbicide, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I'd love to see us get all this stuff back in good shape.
yeah, absolutely. It's been exceptionally dry lately too, so that doesn't help. But
And the agreement does provide for weed control as needed. But clearly what I think you've mentioned, Mayor, is really to a little bit more of a comprehensive treatment, year-round treatment to, in essence, improve the texture of the grass, the lawn, and make it a little bit more visually appealing.
Yeah, we need to get it looking like Commissioner Hodges' lawn.
Yes, definitely.
Jay, what's in the budget for this year for that, for mowing and lawn maintenance?
we budgeted, I want to say 18,500.
Okay.
And they showed up once.
Oh,
So,
okay. So
yeah.
Okay.
They were having staffing issues and everything else. So my staff has been trying to, and the public works staff has helped us as well,
Okay.
to try to get, maintain what we have out there.
And this new number, does that include, that includes the whole city center, right? Rock Park and the fields and everything? I think?
Yes,
Yeah.
fire
Okay.
station, rock park, everything except for the library essentially inside our property
Okay.
here.
All right.
And Jay, their proposed, the amount is with no increases?
Correct.
For
That
next
number will
fiscal-
remain until FY 25. And so the goal is to get through the end of this year and then it would be a 3-year contract there. So we would have the opportunity to plan and budget for FY 26 as that approached.
Great.
Questions? No? Okay, are there any questions in the audience? Okay. All right, do I have an approval on the RFP 2103?
I'm making a motion that we approve RFP
1,
21-03 mowing and lawn maintenance services.
I'll second.
Mayor Hendricks,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Andrews,
Yes.
Commissioner Hodges.
yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Okay, and the last thing on the report is the city manager's report for February.
As included in the agenda packet, the report for February across our departments, including obviously some of the items that I like to cover in my work throughout the month. Clearly, every department is super busy, particularly community development and building with all the planning, and you will go through some of the data enclosed However, I mean, continue to see really a significant amount of activity and trying to accomplish the reviews for zoning, planning, and really our development code as quickly as they can. We continue to address that, and if we get into even a much higher level of activity, which we anticipate we may then look for, additional temporary assistance to get those applications processed, certainly within the 30-day time period. My narrative at the beginning focused a little bit more of what we're dealing with now. Obviously, a lot of visitors as we hit the peak of what makes Madeira Beach, or one of the things that makes it so attractive, is visitors coming from many parts of the U.S. and even a few other countries. But clearly, we start this coming week with an inordinate number of visitors as all 5 public school districts around us, plus the University of South Florida, go on their annual spring break. So they are all, this Friday is their last day of classes, the 11th, and then they are off until they reconvene on the 21st of March. So in all the years I lived in the area, I don't recall all public school districts plus USF having their break in the same week. So that might be pretty interesting. Maybe it's happened before, but I recall years ago that those were staggered so as to avoid having nearly 600,000 students, and certainly quite a few of them that like to go to the beach and at all hours, not just during the day or to watch sunset, but at all hours. So we're prepared as best as we can to address that. Everything from certainly our contract with the sheriffs for the maintenance of traffic, and worked with contractors. We're not having Frontier perform any work during next week, and I suspect they were going to question as to why we've stopped them. And the main reason is because of some of the unforeseen or foreseen work that led to some damages on some of our streets. And as you heard tonight, they are going to work to repair those, but we want to ensure, obviously, 1,000% that does happen as quickly and efficiently as possible. 100 parts of 140th from Island Drive to North and South Bayshore will have to be completely redone because of broken reclaimed water lines over the last 6 weeks. So that we're getting a quote, and we've had companies come out and look at what type of work that will occur. But and again, Frontier they're responsible for that, ensuring that gets restored. We continue with our 75th year anniversary. We have an event scheduled as part of that, one of our annual events, the Grunt Hunt fishing tournament. However, we will announce tomorrow whether we do hold it this Saturday or not, due to the impending inclement weather that is forecasted. Winds 20 to 30 miles an hour and likely some rough seas. We will make that announcement tomorrow. If we do delay that, we would look to reschedule it on the 19th of March, which is not the most ideal because that weekend we do have the Rotary Spring Break Carnival here and at Rock Park and our recreation center. And that actually begins on the 17th through the 20th of March. So we are into the period also at this time with just lots of events happening this weekend. Also Saturday and Sunday is the citywide garage sale. We allow residents to have garage sales without counting it against your permits, et cetera. So that's this coming weekend, even though it is forecasted to rain on Saturday. Sunday should be a much nicer day, and perhaps some people will still try to have a garage sale on Saturday, but likely most of that will occur on Sunday. We've also had it since last Thursday or Friday, over nearly 20 different college and university softball teams playing on the 3 softball fields, and teams coming from as far away as Michigan and New York State, New Jersey, and a lot of teams from the Southeast. So they've been enjoying. I've ran into several of them throughout the city and out on the beach. And so they've been visiting some of our businesses as well as enjoying what many of us enjoy here in the city. So we're happy to have them here. And there are more games happening this coming weekend, tomorrow through Sunday. And then that concludes on Tuesday, the day before the festival begins. Also on Mondays, our kite day, the day before those softball games out here at Rock Park. Encourage folks to come out during spring break so you can go to the beach in the morning and then come fly a kite with us. And that's when we do hope there's a little bit of wind.
Yeah.
I've been told a couple of times there was almost no wind, but, and of course, Tuesday's our election and the election we have 2 commission seats and one referendum question and the charter changes. So that's coming up on Tuesday. So hopefully everybody that's registered to vote, and that the voting location is, excuse me, just across from where we are here at our city center room is the one polling place. I believe in prior elections, there have been 2. There was only 1 for the election this Tuesday. We've been the beneficiary, I would call it, of some good news from the Pinellas County Sheriff in the activities to remove derelict and abandoned boats just outside of our city limits, but they're using part of our city to stage the process to remove, and received word that through today they have removed 22 derelict and abandoned boats. The initial thought was that our plan was for 7, then it grew to 12, then to 16, and now we're at 22 that have been removed. And we've received a lot of comments from residents and other folks that are just very excited that happened. And we're very thankful and grateful for the sheriff to really proceed with that program and encourage people to, well, take better care of certainly of your boats. That process will continue from now on with the sheriff's marine unit. Is when they identify a derelict or abandoned boat, they will go through their process to mark it or tag it and provide the owners 21 days to remove the boat. If they do not, then the boat will be removed. Similar to the process that's been happening for now almost 2 weeks with those 22 boats. A reminder, everybody, please, especially as we get many, many visitors, try to, the city has, leave no trace. Make sure we clean our city and deposit the trash where it needs to be deposited and not leave anything on the sand. We've had cleanups, obviously, from several groups, the Trash Pirates, the Trash Turtles, and certainly their work is greatly appreciated. They've picked up, I mean, literally they pick up hundreds and hundreds of tons of trash every year. So we appreciate all of their work and certainly encourage everybody to help us, again, keep our city as clean and as pristine as it can be. And again, the reason why so many people come and visit, as well as people decide to invest in Madeira Beach, whether by buying a home or opening a business. So you can go through the report and look at the activities that we've had. Again, as I mentioned, our building and planning and community development activities have continued to be fairly high. And I mean, just for example, our building department processed 86 permits in the month of February, collected almost $42,000 in fees for work valued at approximately just over $1.2 million. So clearly there's considerable activity that is happening. Our parking revenue continues to be, we are above the prior year. If I recall correctly, we were about 16% higher in the current year than in the prior year. And of course, all tourism indicators and economic indicators are showing significant increases this year compared to last year, but even comparing to 2019, the year before the pandemic began. So clearly there's just even as I included in my update, the tourist development tax, the increase is over 68% from last year to this year. Part of that is attributed to also the cost of a room night has gone up considerably throughout the county, including even though we don't have that many hotels here in our city, it's still an increase. So that leads to a little bit of a higher collection in the tourist development tax, but clearly we're seeing a significant increase in just the number of visitors to the area. You can see also our fire department did various structural training. They utilized did some training on structures that were being demolished. And we just appreciate that the business that was demolishing that structure allowed our crews to go in there and perform some of their training and getting into structures, et cetera. So but again, more detailed information on the election. And if anybody's interested, I can certainly translate into Spanish, but I've not had anybody make that request of me that I've run into in the last month. So, and our marina revenues, again, there was a decrease in January. Just, I know that was a question last month. We just didn't sell as much fuel, didn't have as many people out boating, and so the numbers physically at the marina were fairly low for January relative to the other months, especially now that you can see the increase back in February as the weather became a little nicer. We had, the sales increased a little bit close to where they were prior at the end of 2021. And just finishing out in our public works and recreation, again, continuing with various stormwater work and just encouraging people to, again, help us keep our storm drains, open and clear, and avoid disposing of any type of chemicals or other liquids that should not be going down the storm drains is obviously always a recommendation and very much appreciative. And our recreation department, as I stated, they're super busy with all the special events from softball to the regular after school care to now spring break camp. And if anybody's curious, they're really do quite a bit of work in even in maintaining the fields, and just even during all these softball games where you have the 5 to 7 guys jumping out there and turning those fields over in a matter of 15 to 20 minutes is very impressive and much appreciated. And I was able to watch it while I was out of town because these softball games have been streaming via the internet. You do have to pay for the service, but that was a very nice feature that they've had for that, because I heard from a lot of the fans who were here, again, the majority, quite a few of them that are the parents or family of the players, their relatives in Radford, Virginia, or Christiansburg, Virginia, in Long Island, where's Central Michigan located, Jay? I forget.
Central Michigan.
Well, no, I meant wherever the Kalamazoo, Michigan, the same, that they were watching the game, streaming, that they could watch their relatives play here in Madeira Beach. And I didn't include in this month, but you will see next month the images from those streaming relative to, there are 4 other locations where these softball games are taking place. And far and away, our view is, hundreds of times better. Not that I'm being critical of you, but it's just so much nicer when you do pull up fields 1, 2, and 3 in Madeira Beach with the water. Every now and then you'll see a boat go by in the background. I think I saw Commissioner Hudson's sailboat go by once, but it's so compared to some of the other venues that just are not where these venues are. And that's something we're going to look to grow and provide a little bit more visibility so that we, again, just benefits us all around. And happy to answer any questions at any time, or any questions about the report. We hope to see you at upcoming events, activities. And thank you for those that do attend. And I think we've seen just about all of you at some or one of the activities. So that is very much appreciated. And I know staff appreciates it.
I didn't know our mayor was going to throw the softball out. I read about that after the fact. I would have gone there to laugh at you.
He did very well from what I was told.
I was honored to be told I threw like a girl.
Yeah, they can play.
Yes, they can. I
They
was
can play.
amazed.
Good.
We do have the agenda setting up next in case somebody wants to put something on there for the next meeting. The meeting will be on March 23rd.
Just a comment on A there, the new performance appraisal forms. At the last workshop packet, three of us were here, but we kind of came to a decision that Clara and I would kind of take these individual performance evaluators and list kind of the topics and have a score sheet for all of us so that at the next workshop, we can discuss which ones we think are important for each of the positions. And that would really be helpful. And if we do this ahead of time, I'll try to get these in your boxes ahead of time so that you can start thinking about it. So during the workshop, we can pretty quickly pick out what we want the evaluations to look like. And also we kind of, Andrew gave a presentation at the last workshop about what we can spend some of the Americans, what act is that? The American Rescue
ARPA.
Plan Act. And again, Claire and I are going to just put together a suggested list that we bantered about, and you guys can add something or so that we can rank them and know where to kind of put that money.
You good there? One thing I'd like to discuss at the workshop, just an update on the parking garage. I did see it in the capital budget for 2025, I believe. I don't remember putting it down as that date or anything like that. I know we put it on the budget. But I'd also just like an update, Andrew, on how much money that 50-cent increase is going into that special account. It doesn't have to be every month. I mean, I know we've had a pretty good influx of, and I just saw the numbers for parking, so pretty good influx of visitors coming through. I don't know if you're doing that monthly, if you're doing it quarterly to move the money from one spot to another, but just a kind of a thumbnail shot of where we're at with it, okay? Okay.
It's an accounting transaction, but yeah, I can give you the life to date from inception to our next meeting.
And was there a reason why it's put on the budget for that far? Is that for the completion of it, or is that for the start of the parking garage, Robin?
I'd have to go back and
All right,
look
that's
at the notes, but yeah, I'm guessing that would have been the completion.
Yeah, let's throw,
date.
yeah, let's throw it on the agenda. We can talk
Yep,
about it. Thanks.
Got parking garage starting in FY '22 for 200,000.
Which is likely the
That was for
engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, architectural engineering, just a very preliminary, and then likely, I'm guessing construction probably not till the end of.
That was 2023. We start construction. That was 3 million.
And Robin, I'm hoping, just my thoughts anyhow, there's a street that goes through there. And hopefully we can have the garage over that street to where you're kind of driving through it, to where we've got parking above the street. Just my 2 cents worth. Okay. I've got nothing else
Do
for
you have
the
anything you wanted to
workshop.
add to the workshop? No? Okay.
Well, then I'll put something else on there. Just one of the reasons I got here at the very last minute was because there was an Amazon Mercedes van, which we know aren't that big, who couldn't take the time to just turn off Gulf Boulevard to deliver a package. He stopped and blocked the entire right-hand lane. And so we're all way back and people try to get around him, and it's not just, in fact, today was Amazon. I was shocked to see that he wouldn't even turn off to a side street to run in and deliver a package. But I've noticed quite a few trucks. I've seen the Cheney Brothers, Coastal Food Group, and the Modelo beer truck all just stopping on Gulf Boulevard to deliver. And I think we need to start ticketing them or arranging something for them to at least turn off the road. I know we don't want beer trucks going down all the neighborhood streets. So we need to work out a plan or something because traffic is horrendous and we don't need vendors blocking the roads. I mean, even at the fish house by my house, the guy at least pulls into that
The middle.
middle suicide lane and, runs back and forth, which that's not safe either, but he's not blocking traffic. So I mean, not that we want to require them to do that, but I think we need to address that and decide if we need to. These are the ones I named, I've seen several times. And I just think we need to do something about it. So if you could find out from the sheriff if that's, and we start with warnings, we don't want anyone.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
But-
giving them a ticket, but a warning.
Right, but the Amazon, that got my goat today because he's in basically a regular van.
Right.
I'm like, now it's getting out of hand. So I'd like to talk about that.
Okay, the last thing on here is the reports and correspondence. Anyone from the commissioners have anything to say?
I have one thing. I don't know if it has been brought to y'all's attention. And I want to thank Megan. Our Moby mat, we actually have it in hand. And we are going to have a ceremony. I
Friday.
knew you wanted to come back up.
Well, it's on Friday, March the 18th.
That was a tentative date.
Oh,
I
I'm
heard
sorry.
back from Ashley and Robin and their group today. They want to push it. They want to make it a big la-ti-da. So they want to send out a press release and invitations. So I think we're looking at in between March 31st and April 14th.
Okay.
So I don't know if everybody could kind of check their schedules and let us know what
Okay.
works best. But we unrolled it today. So
Great.
it's
And,
very nice.
and this was all at no cost to the city at all.
Correct.
It was a gift to us. Yeah.
Yes,
So.
that is
and
great.
just-
Yeah.
Yep.
Can
and
you
just-
explain a little bit exactly what a Moby mat is? Just-
So the way ours is a little bit different. It's a hard plastic mat. It's going to be staked in the ramp off of the restrooms. It will be on that ramp out to the access. At the end of the access, we'll start the mat. It will then go out 42 feet to the water. We can't go all the way to the water, so it's still going to sit back a little bit. And then there's going to be a 25-foot wing. So it'll go 42 feet and then there will be a wing of 25 feet. That way people can set up on it. There's still room for wheelchairs if needed or any type of walking device. And then it's 6 feet wide, so there's plenty of room for people to pass.
That's great. It's so great. And if you will, just be sure that Jody Armstrong is kept in the loop. because-
Absolutely. She's on every single email. Her and I have corresponded back and forth more than anybody.
Yeah.
So she's very excited and ours will be the first one for the Hug Foundation to be installed.
Yes, this is going to be the big send off for them,
Yes.
I think, for the whole area.
Yes.
This foundation is furnishing Moby mats for not just Madeira Beach, but also for St. Pete Beach.
I think there's 7 total in
There-
Pinellas County.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody else has put their permits in yet or
No,
even their applications.
we're first. You got a big jump on that.
I
so
did,
Nice job.
and I got it.
Nice job.
Yes.
Good.
We'll send that out to everybody as soon as we get that together. Megan's working on that with them.
Okay,
Thank
that,
you.
and I already let the cat out of the bag about, hopefully, if the governor signs it, that other $1 million for road work. That's all I've got.
Well, being on the commission, I just wanted to thank everybody for tonight. The dinner was great. I really enjoyed it. And well, I can't even see Andrew there. Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for it because it was great. It really was. And everything, the plaque is beautiful. I love it. Just tickled to death Gotta get my brother to hang it for me. But I do want to appreciate everything that you've done. It has been really great. Thank you so much.
It has been great.
It has.
We loved working with you too.
Thank you.
Nancy, it has been a pleasure to.
I know I'll be seeing you. Do we have anything from the city attorney to report?
Yes, I sent out an email yesterday to you to advise you that I'd be requesting a shade meeting on the case of Madeira Beach versus Overture. We have received a settlement offer from the Overture defendant. I'd like to discuss that settlement offer with you. I'd like to set the shade meeting for April 13th at 4 p.m. This is a couple of hours prior to your commission meeting on that date. And I haven't heard, well, first of all, Mr. Widener, the other attorney, he will be available. I will be available. It's my understanding that the vice mayor is going to be available. I got an email from her. Hopefully that is a good date for the rest of you. I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay, so we'll go ahead and schedule the court reporter and have that meeting. It'll just include the commission and myself and Mr. Widener. And it'll take about an hour's worth of time, probably a lot less than that, but at least I wanted you to know to schedule at least an hour. Okay, thank you. I'll schedule that.
City manager, do you have any reports to make?
Just one, hope to see as many people out at our events coming up that I'd mentioned, and also probably more information than I think the public would want to know, but I did finally find a place to live here in Madeira Beach.
Oh,
so
yay.
I'll be moving into the city April 1st.
That's great.
Great.
Yeah.
There goes the neighborhood.
And what about the city clerk? Did you have anything for us? I don't know.
Commissioner Hodges, I'd like to thank you
Oh, you're welcome.
for having an opportunity to work with you these past 4.5 years. And it's been a pleasure, and I will miss you. And I know you're going to come around all the time. And then showed me that smiley face as always.
Okay. We'll work it out.
But thank you. And also, of course, the election is the 15th. And we have to do the induction of the new commissioners by the end of the month. And I've got that scheduled if it's okay, or you may have another date. That would be Wednesday, March the 30th at 6:00 p.m. The workshop meeting's the Wednesday before, then that will give them time, the elections office time to certify the final results of the election.
Actually, the workshop is on the 23rd, I believe.
Yeah, the 23rd, the Wednesday before. And then, of course, the election is the week before that. And so I was looking at March the 30th on Wednesday for the induction ceremony.
So
Can't,
this-
can we do it on the
change it.
23rd?
Okay.
We should have the result, the election certified by then. If we
Yeah, there was
might
one
be
time
close.
where it took them 2.5 weeks.
Right.
So just in case, we can set it for the 23rd.
Right,
And
and-
if I find that it can't happen, then we'll just use the backup date for the
The
30th.
30th.
Okay.
It should be. I mean, it's just really just municipal
Yeah, I'm hoping.
elections primarily, but
Yeah. It ran close one other time and I was like, oh, it was just like the day before. And so
What time would you doing that at?
6 or what other time that you would like to do it. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's up to the board. 4 or,
Well, the meeting starts at 6, so
oh yeah, for the
5
23rd.
5:30, 5:30.
Yeah.
yeah,
5:30.
5:30.
Yeah, I was thinking the 30th. Yeah, the 23rd, we would need to have it
5:30.
earlier. So that'll be 5:30?
Yes, let's do 5:30.
Okay. All right, so I guess we're gonna close this meeting and the time is 8:04. Oh, yeah.